not right. All right, here's the reaction to today's decision there in New York.
This is not so much a house of worship as a house of, we are going to do you in. We are going to introduce our view of Sharia, and we're going to destroy the democratic way of life that New York represents.
Look, it is a question of religious freedom in this country. We need to continue to follow the letter of law, to stand up for the values that make us strong, and that means allowing a group of moderate Muslims to do what they see fit in a building they've purchased of their own accord.
Joining me now to discuss this is Rabbi Arthur Waskow, founder, director of the Shalom Center in Philadelphia. Rabbi, thanks for being with us, sir. I'm curious as to what your position is on what the ADL is saying. The ADL, to most Americans and any of us who are in this business of news, has always been known as being a forthright protector of faiths across the board, not just the Jewish faith. So here they are in a situation where they're criticizing the folks who are trying to share their faith. What's your take on that?
Well, first let me say shalom and salam to you and to all your watchers and listeners. The Shalom Center spent the last 48 hours from the end of Shabbat until now working with what turned out to be about 24 rabbis and other Jewish leaders in response to this. And we are convinced that in this case, the ADL has made a profound mistake. They've done good work in the past, but this is a profound mistake. They say that the reason they're doing what they did, opposing the building of a mosque near a couple of blocks, in fact, from Ground Zero, is that some people are very upset, emotionally upset at the idea. But in fact, hundreds of family members of people who were killed on 9/11 and the community board that represents the neighborhood have said publicly that they are for the building of the mosque. As a matter of fact, I know Imam Rauf and Daisy Khan, his wife, the two leaders of the Cordoba Institute. They have worked in interfaith ways. They have worked for peacemaking. They represent the best of Islam. A majority of Islam is for peace, and they represent the best of it.
And we've understood that argument, and we thank you for bringing it up once again. But what about the possibility, and the ADL is bringing this point up as well, what about the possibility that some of the money, some of the funds that are being used to build this huge building, could end up being 13 floors, I understand, may come from some nefarious sources in the Middle East, and they're concerned about that. Are you?
I think it's ridiculous. First of all, 13 floors is not so big in New York City. Hardly. Secondly, the people who are putting it together, the hint that they might have anything to do, and the person, I guess, on the street who you just quoted saying, well, maybe they're terrorists, that's ridiculous. One can find out. One can look up the Cordoba Institute. One can look up the record of Imam Rauf and the books that he has written about peacemaking and about Islam. They are the antidote to the terrorist attacks. The result, whatever the ADL thought they were accomplishing, the result of their behavior is to say, first of all, to American Jews and then to Americans generally, hey, there's no difference. All Muslims are tarred with terrorism. Well, that's terrible. That's false. It's ugly. It's disgusting. If anybody talked about Jews that way, then we would say, nothing doing, this is disgusting, this is anti-Semitism. Well, they are encouraging that, whether they intended it or not, they are encouraging it. And the 24 rabbis we are working with, who span the whole spectrum, by the way, they're Orthodox and conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist, and Renewal rabbis, practically, essentially, the whole span of American Jewish religious life, as well as some secular Jews besides, saying, no, this does not square with religious freedom, but more than that, it doesn't square with Jewish teaching about dialogue about peacemaking, about shalom
and that's the point that
which are the same word.
That's the point they've been making there, Rabbi. I just want you to know, and I want our viewers to know, that we've done everything possible over the last 48 hours to get a hold of ADL and ask them to come on the show. And the invitation is still out there, and hopefully we'll be able to get some representative from
we've been
ADL.
asking people to call. We've been asking people to call the ADL, and especially its director.
Have you
Abraham
talked to him? Have you, just a quick. We're almost out of time.
No, I tried to reach. I tried to reach this morning and got a busy signal, so maybe too many people were calling.
All right,
we would also ask people to look at our website, www.theshalomcenter.org, which has the statement that the 25 rabbis and we have issued.
Well, here's
someone
who
that they can add their own names.
Here's someone, interestingly enough, who may agree with you, and we thank you, Rabbi Arthur Waskow of the Shalom Center, for sharing your perspective on this, and we'll continue to try and get the ADL on this story, at least on the record. Here's Mike Bloomberg tweeting this just about a half hour ago.